World Mysteries. We are about to unleash the biggest mysteries known to man. Genuinely baffling, and if you manage to solve any of them, leave a comment below. Number 8. The Enigma of the Voynich Manuscript. Named after the Polish-American antiquarian bookseller Wilfred N. Voynich, who acquired it in 1912, the Voynich manuscript is a detailed 240-page book written in a language or script that is completely unknown. Its pages are also filled with colorful drawings of strange diagrams, odd events, and plants that do not seem to match any known species, adding to the intrigue of the document and the difficulty of deciphering it. The original author of the manuscript remains unknown, but carbon dating has revealed that its pages were made sometime between 1404 and 1438. It has been called the world's most mysterious manuscript. Theories abound about the origin and nature of the manuscript. Some believe it was meant to be a pharmacopoeia to address topics in medieval or early modern medicine. Many of the pictures of herbs and plants hint that it may have been some kind of textbook for an alchemist. The fact that many diagrams appear to be of astronomical origin, combined with the unidentifiable biological drawings, has even led some fanciful theorists to propose that the book may have an alien origin. One thing many theorists agree on is that the book is unlikely to be a hoax, given the amount of time, money, and detail that would have been required to make it. Number 7 on our list, the Phaistos Disc. The mystery of the Phaistos Disc is a story that sounds like something out of an Indiana Jones movie. Discovered by Italian archaeologist Luigi Pernier in 1908 in the Minoan Palace site of Phaistos, the disc was made of fired clay and contains mysterious symbols that may represent an unknown form of hieroglyphics. It is believed that it was designed sometime in the 2nd millennium BC. Some scholars believe that the hieroglyphs resemble symbols of Linear A and Linear B, scripts once used in ancient Crete. The only problem, Linear A also eludes decipherment. Today, the disc remains one of the most famous puzzles of archaeology. At number 6, the strange case of Tamam Shud. Considered to be one of Australia's most profound mysteries, the Tamam Shud case revolves around an unidentified man found dead in December 1948 on Somerton Beach in Adelaide, Australia. Aside from the fact that the man could never be identified, the mystery deepened after a tiny piece of paper with the words Tamam Shud was found in a hidden pocket sewn within the man's trousers. The phrase translates as ended or finished, and is a phrase used on the last page of a collection of poems called the Ribayat of Omar Khayyam. Adding to the mystery, a copy of Khayyam's collection was later found that contained a scribbled code in it, believed to have been left by the dead man himself. Interesting events followed the investigation. Flowers mysteriously appeared at his grave. A receptionist also recalled an unknown man leaving a nearby hotel just before the death, leaving behind a medical case including a hypodermic needle. Rumors suggest that the man was a spy, either for the Americans or the Soviets. The place of death was close to Woomera, an intelligence gathering area. The suggestions of espionage, intertwined with love and lost loves and the unbroken code, still arouse interest in the public. The case of the Somerton man remains Australia's greatest mystery, and yet it appears we are all condemned to remain in suspense. In at number 5, it creeps in slowly in the dark of night, and once inside, it almost never goes away. It's known as the hum, a steady droning sound that's heard in places as disparate as Taos, New Mexico, Bristol, England, and Largs, Scotland. Reports started trickling in during the 1950s from people who had never heard anything unusual before. Suddenly, they were bedeviled by an annoying, low-frequency humming, throbbing, or rumbling sound. The cases seem to have several factors in common. Generally, the hum is only heard indoors, and it's louder at night than during the day. It's also more common in rural or suburban environments. Reports of a hum are rare in urban areas, probably because of the steady background noise in crowded cities. The name comes from the small town of Taos, New Mexico, where in 1997, Congress actually had researchers try to identify it. In spite of efforts like this, however, its source remains a mystery. At number 4 on our list, ball lightning. It has been mistaken for UFOs, wreaked havoc on homes, and eluded rational explanation for centuries. But now, ball lightning, a large mysterious glow that appears during thunderstorms, has been captured on video for the first time. Chinese researchers managed to accidentally record the elusive glowing orbs during a thunderstorm in Qinghai when they were mapping radiation. Ball lightning has been reported to appear during thunderstorms as a glow ranging from the size of a golf ball to several meters across. There are a number of reports of such glows injuring or even killing people and setting buildings alight. In a letter to the Daily Mail in 1934, for instance, a reader described how he saw a large red-hot ball coming down from the sky. Quote, "It struck our house, cut the telephone wires, burnt the window frame, and then buried itself in a tub of water which was underneath." Until the 1960s, it was not widely believed to really exist. In August 2013, researchers at the U.S. Air Force Academy in Colorado made and photographed bright white plasmoid balls in their lab. The balls were generated from high-power electric sparks discharged by electrodes partly submerged on electrolyte solutions. Due to its rare and fleeting nature, it has proven almost impossible to study. The best documented case occurred in 1984 when ball lightning measured about 4 inches in diameter entered a Russian passenger aircraft and flew above the heads of the stunned passengers before leaving the plane almost noiselessly. At number 3, El Chupacabra. Over a decade ago, farmers in Calama, a mining town in the heart of Chile's harsh northern desert, awoke to find their goats and sheep dead in their pens. An unidentified predator had mutilated the animals' necks. By the time the television cameras arrived, a rumor of a chupacabra attack, Chile's first, was spreading fast through the slender Pacific nation. Literally translated to the goat sucker, the name is derived from the fact that it supposedly attacks animals to drink their blood, particularly the blood of goats. It is most commonly described as a lizard-like being, appearing to have leathery skin and sharp spines running down its back. El Chupacabra is the single most notable cryptozoological phenomenon since the Bigfoot phenomenon. At number 2 on our list, the Marfalites. The Marfalites, mysterious glowing orbs that appear in the desert outside the West Texas town of Marfa, have mystified people for generations. According to eyewitnesses, the Marfalites appear to be roughly the size of basketballs and are varyingly described as white, blue, yellow, red, or other colors. Reportedly, the Marfalites hover, merge, twinkle, split into two, flicker, float up into the air, or dart quickly across. There seems to be no way to predict when the lights will appear. They're seen in various weather conditions, but only a dozen or so nights a year. And nobody knows for sure what they are, or if they really even exist at all. The Native Americans of the area thought the Marfalites were fallen stars. Lovers of the paranormal have attributed the Marfalites to everything from space aliens to the wandering ghosts of Spanish conquistadors. And number 1 on this list, the Dyatlov Pass incident. Peering through the wind-swept snow on a dark February day, the rescue party finally came on the first sign of life. The flapping remains of a tent pitched on ski poles on an uppermost slope of Kholat Syakhl, Mountain of the Dead in the native language of northern Siberia. But where were the 9 young Russian students who should have been sheltering beneath the canvas? Curiosity turned to mystery as human tracks were seen in the snow heading downhill away from the tent in single file for a third of a mile. barefoot human tracks in temperatures of -24. And mystery became horror when an inspection of the tent showed its front flaps still buttoned tightly together, but huge knife slashes down the sides, through which the occupants apparently fled. Inside was like the Mary Celeste, with everything intact: warm clothes, waterproof jackets, blankets, and sweaters that could have been essential to survive in the Siberian winter, plus cameras, diaries, and cooking utensils, all apparently abandoned in a moment of madness. So began the story of what became known as the Dyatlov Pass incident, one that has baffled the world for more than half a century since whatever horrific tragedy overtook the Nine in February of 1959. They had been missing for almost a month after trekking out into the bleak wilderness of the Ural Mountains. 7 men and 2 women, all of them fit, hardy, and experienced hikers on what was supposed to be a short and invigorating break from their graduate studies. Haunting photographs from the film in their cameras show the happy and relaxed faces of good friends on an exhilarating adventure, capturing their journey on train, road, and on foot to this desolate area. They smile out fresh-faced and jolly from black and white snaps, rugged, healthy young people in the anoraks, +4s, waterproof galoshes, and gaiters of the day, oblivious to what fate has in store for them. When they failed to return, search parties went out with every expectation of finding at least some survivors, hopes that were soon dashed. The first bodies, frostbitten and frozen stiff, were discovered lying in the snow on flat land near a river, a mile from the tent, next to the remains of a long burnt-out fire. Around 350 yards away lay the corpse of Igor Dyatlov, the 23-year-old engineering student from Ural Polytechnic who had put the expedition together and was its leader. 2 months went by before the rest of the group were found under 15 feet of snow in a den they had desperately hollowed out for themselves before succumbing to the cold. Some of this group had broken bones and terrible internal injuries, but strangely, no external wounds, not even scratches on the skin. Stranger still, odd bits of their clothing contained higher than normal levels of radiation. Indeed, post-mortem examinations of all 9 bodies threw up a string of bewildering anomalies. Why were some fully clothed, but others nearly naked? Most disconcerting of all was one of the bodies, which was missing the tongue and eyes. What had gone on in those dark and dreadful hours on the Mountain of the Dead? What had caused 9 highly educated young adults to plunge panic-stricken into the sub-zero night to their deaths? The official Soviet investigator into the tragedy, Lev Ivanov, could find no answers. He concluded in his hastily composed report that all 9 deaths had been caused by what he described as an unknown elemental force which they were unable to overcome. Privately, he told people he thought they'd been killed by aliens in a UFO.